welcome to my channel. My name is Destiny and welcome back if you are a subscriber or have been with me over the last few videos. I'm so excited to have you, and today I'm so excited to tell you all about how I traveled to one of the most dangerous cities in the world. So this all started last March, so 2019. My boyfriend was just about to graduate from college. He was finishing up his last semester, and his family was like, look, we're so proud of you. We're gonna take the whole family on this beautiful all-inclusive cruise vacation, and we're gonna have food, drink, fun, beaches, like just a beautiful environment. I've never been out of the country, so I was stoked. I was excited. I immediately went and got my passport, and I was ready to travel. So about a month before we were supposed to leave for the trip, his parents were like, look, our travel advisor found us this amazing place in Mexico that you guys have probably never traveled to, you probably will never travel to, and we want to take you there because we really want to go. So we're like, yeah, sure, like still it's an all-inclusive vacation, even though it's not a cruise, like we're still getting all you can eat food, drinks, like all that stuff. And I don't drink, but I'm in it for the food. I'm like, okay, cool, where are we going? And she's like, oh, we're going to Sinaloa, Mexico. And I'm like, cool, yay, I'm so excited. Like, thank you so much for inviting me. I can't wait to go and spend time with like the family and everything. I started doing a quick Google search of Sinaloa, Mexico. And the first thing that I see is not these beautiful beaches. It's not this beautiful painted picture of Mexico that I'm so typical in seeing. It was the fact that the United States had just released a travel advisory for Sinaloa, Mexico. A level 4 travel advisory for Sinaloa, Mexico. Now, if you guys know anything about travel advisories, that's basically saying to be cautious while you're traveling to another country. Also to make sure that you are registering with the US Embassy in that country in case anything were to happen, that you would be safe, or they would know that you're there basically. So you register with the US Embassy for them to know that you're safe in the country in case you were missing or anything happens. So obviously every time you go out of the country you should register with the US Embassy in that country if there is one. The first thing that this website says is, it's the travel website for the United States of America that says Sinaloa, Mexico is a level 4 travel advisory, which basically means there's a lot of violence, a lot of crime, a lot of kidnappings. I'm so sorry if you hear a noise in the background. My chihuahua is literally snoring like a little pig. I'll show you her at the end. But basically, that this level 4 travel advisory, United States is advising you not to go to this city. Like, you shouldn't be in this city, you should not be roaming around the city, you should not be going and visiting like hotels and stuff like that. So immediately I have anxiety and I got extremely nervous. I'm calling his parents and I'm like, did you guys know this? And they're like, yeah, like you'll be fine, like it's an all-inclusive resort. So I did really have to like weigh my cards. I really wanted to go on this vacation, but I also wanted to ensure that I was safe. And of course, like you cannot guarantee your safety anywhere that you are in the world, but I am a very controlling person, and if I can have control of everything, I would. So even having that little bit of control, having that decision whether or not I was gonna go, was important to me. So I'm getting more and more anxious as the trip is about to happen. I'm like, I want to cancel, like I didn't want to go, and I almost backed out a few times. Like I even told my boss I'm probably not going on vacation, like I'm just gonna work the whole week. So we get to the day before vacation and I'm having anxiety. I have a really hard time flying because I did not fly a lot as a kid. So I'm having flight anxiety knowing that we're gonna have to take a 5-hour plane to Mexico City and then another hour plane over to Sinaloa. So in Sinaloa, there's a whole, so Sinaloa is almost like a state, I guess. And there's a bunch of like cities. And the city that we were going to is called Mazaltán. Mazaltán is a city in Mexico, and it's not known for the travel. It wasn't known for the adventure. It wasn't known for the tourism. So here I am feeling very anxious the night before we leave. We head over to JFK Airport. Our flight wasn't leaving till 11 o'clock and it was delayed. I'm having anxiety. I started having heart palpitations. And I literally almost left the airport because I was so nervous to go out of the country. On our first flight, it was an overnight, and me and my boyfriend both had the end seat and the window seat. So the aisle seat and window seat. Nobody sat in between us, so we literally had that whole area to sprawl out for 5.5 hours overnight. We literally slept the entire way. And when I tell you I have never slept on a plane before, it was the best night's sleep I ever had. So then we get to Mexico City and we weren't allowed to leave the airport. As soon as you come through customs, they rechecked all of our bags. So everything was rechecked to make sure that we weren't bringing anything into the country. So we go and we wait. Since we weren't allowed out of the airport, we just sat in our terminal waiting for the plane for 8.5 hours. We were exhausted by now. So once you get to Mazaltán, it's 2 hours ahead of Connecticut. When we were in Mexico City, it was an hour ahead. So we had already been traveling a lot. I was pretty exhausted. You know when you just feel icky from traveling? I just wanted a shower. I was excited. I was ready to get there and kind of see what Mazaltán was all about. I did a lot of research before we went to Mazaltán, and there was no videos, no pictures, nothing to show like the beautiful city. It was all like the dangers of the city. And I understand like it may be a dangerous city, but there's dangers all over the world. The entire world has danger. In the city you're living in right now, it is dangerous. There are parts of it that are dangerous. I don't care how nice of a city you live in, there are things that happen in your city, whether or not you are aware of them, that are dangerous, that do happen every single day. So we get on our second flight and we took Aeromexico, which is owned by Delta. They're beautiful planes. They're honestly one of the most beautiful planes I've ever flew. And get on the plane, where they gave us some complimentary beers, a snack, food. I don't even drink, but I was like, I took a sip. I was like, thanks. Like, I thought it was so nice. We landed in Mazaltán and it's a desert. Like, there's nothing around. Like, there's cactuses and literally just cactuses and like brush. Like, there's really nothing there. So we get off the plane and the airport in Mazaltán has absolutely no AC. You get off the plane inside the airport and you're just like dripping sweat. Like, it was like 98 degrees that day. I was like, whoo, it's hot. So we already had pre-arranged transportation to our resort. I highly recommend this when traveling outside of the country, to either rent a car or have pre-arranged transportation when traveling. They always say, never jump in a random taxi, never jump in a random mode of transportation that you are not familiar with, and I highly recommend this. So like I said, I just highly recommend the pre-arranged transportation to and from your resort, hotel, wherever. So we got in our pre-arranged transportation. It was this beautiful white little van that said the name of our resort on it. It said El Moro Resort. And I was like, all right, let's go. So we start driving through Mexico, and Mexico has very like small, skinny roads. It's one car on one side, one car on the other. That's it. Everything else is like there's nothing. There's cactuses and desert and more cactuses and desert, but there's no houses, there's no malls, there's no, especially, I don't know about everywhere, but especially in Mazaltán where we were. So it took us about 45 minutes to get to our hotel, and we're like driving. It was desert, 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 and then all of a sudden you come into this beautiful city. There was a lot of construction coming on. There definitely was a lot of construction going on. So we had to wait a little bit longer. And so we pull into our resort, and these wonderful people right off the resort So we pull into our resort, and on one side there was no hotel, on the other side there was a beautiful hotel. So it was like demolition on one side, and then it was like a beautiful hotel on the other. We had to stay, the resort that we stayed in was pretty large, and as soon as we pulled in, the people were so sweet when they greeted us. They gave us leis and like these necklaces, and they were like, welcome to Mazaltán, welcome to El Cid Moro. And we were early and we weren't able to check in until 4, but we didn't do the math when booking flights that we weren't going to be able to check in because we forgot that the time change and the time difference from Connecticut to Mazatlan is 2 hours. So we still weren't able to check in for another like 6 hours. So we're waiting there, and we went and put our bathing suits on. They took our luggage, and we literally just got to, there's like 8 pools on the resort, and you could just go to whatever pool you want. You can go hang out at the beach. Just be careful of the jellyfish. They bring you food, drinks all day long, and you really just like, so we enjoyed our first day there, and we finally checked in. We had this beautiful, beautiful hotel room. I'll include the clip that I took of it here.
Welcome to
it was
our
like 3
crib.
Bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and that was just for 4 people. So like we're in this corner little suite. The lookout to the ocean and the pool and the water, like, oh, it was a dream. So every day we did stay on the resort the majority of the time. That is what the individuals at Guest Relations had suggested for us, to stay on the resort as much as possible. There was a sushi place across the street at another resort. We did go there a couple times. I think one of the best things that we did in Mazatlan is we took a risk. It was a risk. Just like anything you do, every single day is a risk. And we found this company that rents ATVs, and they take you through the fields of Mexico, and we literally had to take a water ferry. I've never taken a water ferry before, but they walked us through this fish market. So we took about an hour bus ride, and then we hopped on this water ferry through this fish market, traveled about 20 minutes across to this little baby island that had palm trees and mango trees and avocado trees. Oh, it was beautiful. And once we got there, so I had all of the trees, and like they just had like the ATVs like sitting on the side of the road waiting for us. Like there was no people there, nothing. The guide had just said, all right, these are our ATVs, and we took them. We put our little bandanas on to prevent any dust from flying up. And we took about an hour-and-a-half ATV ride through the fields of Mexico, and I'll insert some footage of that I have here. On the way back, we took the ATVs along the beach, and the waves and everything was in the background, and it was beautiful. And we found giant sand dollars, and we were allowed to take them home and keep them. And I'll actually grab it for you. Found giant sand dollars, and I made sure that they weren't alive when we took them. He told us that the white ones are ones that have already died, so they're okay to take. It's the black ones that you don't want to take. So this was washed all the way up on shore. This is my face. This is the biggest sand dollar I've ever seen. This is definitely one of like the best keepsakes that I have from Mazatlan. And so we took the risk with the ATVs. I actually ended up crashing mine, so my boyfriend had to drive. I clearly did not know how to drive ATVs. And we met some really adorable puppies and an alligator and all these things, and our tour guide even picked mangoes right off the mango tree, and we ate them like just as like a little lunch right there. It was great. So on the way back, we saw this guy. People ride horses up there, or people ride horses in Mazatlan a lot instead of driving cars. So he literally looks like an old school cowboy riding a horse, and he's just doing his thing. He's working just like everybody else was. We did go into town one time. The taxis in Mazatlan are not like regular taxis. They are trucks. The bed of the truck is made out of, like, it has wood all the way around it, and you can sit in it and look all 360 while you're driving. Went to the mall. We walked around to see, we did go into town one time to see the, it was like 19th century landmarks that had, there was like a performance hall and beautiful, they had like the performance hall and there was like beautiful statues over there, and it was definitely very different. There was not one time on the whole trip that I felt unsafe in this trip. Don't judge a place based off what the travel advisory says. You need to make those decisions for yourself. I'm not saying don't be cautious, but don't let it stop you from traveling and being safe about traveling. Everybody we met in Mexico was beautiful. They were safe, they were nice, they were so kind. Everything was, they were generous. After being out of the country for my first time, all I want to do is travel now. I have that travel bug, and I know we're in quarantine right now, and I will not be traveling right now. It is everybody's best interest to stay where they are and be safe. But in the future, when it is safe to travel again, and I mean truly safe, I really do want to get back to Mazaltán and explore the city in a whole, maybe. It was the best experience I've ever had, and I can't wait to go back. So I think the moral of this is stop judging books by their cover, especially places. Take the caution with a grain of salt and make your own decisions. Practice safe things when you're going to other countries. Even when you're going to the bar down the street from your house, be safe. Like, don't do things that would put you in an unsafe situation. And don't be afraid to travel. It's fun, it's exciting, and this is how I traveled to one of the most dangerous cities in the world, and honestly, I can't wait to go back. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. I definitely want to do more videos like this. I have so many story times that I can tell you guys all about. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye guys.